Hello everyone, my name is Fanya Lin. I'm a concert pianist from Taiwan, as well as the Associate Professor of Practice in Piano at the University of Arizona. And today we're going to be talking about how to improve your sight reading as a musician. And this is specifically for pianists, but if you're other instrumentalists, feel free to give it a try as well. So for a lot of my students, I help them to work on their sight reading. And one of the most important thing that you want to be aware of before you even start touching the piano, start playing it, start sight reading it, is to observe. So when I talk about observation, what exactly do we have to observe? So first, key signatures and time signatures. So you want to know these basic ideas, concepts. And another thing to observe is technical spots. So a lot of the times when we're assigned with a piece that we have to play, there are specific pockets that are more difficult than others. So by identifying and observing these technical spots, it will help you to foresee what's coming up, and you can also decide your overall tempo according to these technical spots. And the next thing is to identify harmonies, chord progressions, or patterns. And pattern is a very important one, because if you can find patterns or sequence and understand more about the composer's language, then you'll be able to predict what's going to come next, which will massively help your sight reading skill. And a lot of the times my students ask me, then how do you actually practice to improve sight reading? So today we're going to go over 3 key concepts that will help you with sight reading exercises, and we will have some of the more advanced tips as well. So the first tip is to keep the tempo. A lot of the times after looking at a specific score, so for example, if I were to sight read this page, I would identify the tempo that I am going to take. So if say we're going to sight read these 4 lines, then once I identify the key signature, the time signature, and some of the patterns as well as the technical spots, then I will use that to set the tempo. When you are practicing sight reading, you want to set the tempo and see if you can go through it by keeping the tempo without stopping at all. So if I start from here, my goal is to go through the end of the music and without any stopping. So sometimes we will make mistakes, play a wrong note, or accidentally leave out something. Those are all okay. The goal for you is to keep going. A lot of the times when we are sight reading is usually under the circumstances where you are collaborating with others and you are doing a sight reading session, or if you were thrown into a position where you don't have enough time to prepare. If it's under those settings, you have to keep going, keep the tempo going in order for things not to fall apart. And so being able to keep a steady tempo, that's one of the most important things. And so whenever you find a page that you are going to sight read and practice your sight reading, set the tempo and see if you can just go through it without stopping, even when there's mistakes. And that's actually a very helpful skill when you are on stage as well, when you are performing. Not the sight reading part, but keeping the tempo steady and keep on going no matter what happens. So that's the first tip. Just keep the rhythm and keep on going. The second tip is to look ahead. So this is a really fun exercise that you can do with your friends, or if you can find a partner to sight read with you. And the example that I'm going to use is this Mozart excerpt. Say you are sight reading this variation, and what you can do is to practice really looking ahead as you are playing. Your partner is going to get either a bookmark or a ruler or anything that can block the notes. So before you are starting, the ruler is going to be here. Once you start playing, say, the first measure, then the second measure, the third measure, and the fourth measure. So the idea is you have to keep looking ahead of the measure, not just at where you are playing, so that you have the habit of looking ahead and predicting what's going to happen. So that's the second tip, and it's a great activity to do it with a friend when you are practicing. So I hope you can exercise on that and really build the habit of looking ahead. And that really helps a lot when you are doing chamber music as well, when you are not sight reading. reading, just to look ahead and anticipate what's going to happen. And along with that line, we're going to introduce our third tip, that's to predict the future. And a lot of the times I do block practice when I help my students to improve their sight reading. So this is an example of what a block practice looks like. So as you can see, I already blocked out some of the left hands or some of the both right hand and left hand. So what it does is it forces you to identify patterns or sequence. So as you can see here, the left hand is following a specific pattern. So each measure is actually the same. So after playing two measures, ideally you should be able to predict the harmony as well as the pattern of the left hand. And so that's going to help you predict and fill in the blank or improvise a little bit, but improvise accurately with the framework that you are provided. The same thing for this second line. As you can see, there is an established pattern already in the left hand. So this is going to help you to identify the pattern and predict the pattern. Here you can see there's a sequence going on as well, both within the right hand and also the left hand. So by blocking both right hand and left hand, you have to identify what's the pattern, what's the sequence, and predict what's going to happen. The same thing happened here as well. The sequence is a lot smaller here. The pattern is a lot smaller. So by blocking those segments, those sections, it's going to help you to force your brain to predict what's going to happen in the future. What kind of pattern or sequence or harmony does the composer ask you to do? And so you have to come up with those. So those three tips, keeping the rhythm, look ahead, as well as predicting the future, is going to really help you improving your sight reading skills. If you're someone who is majoring in collaborative piano and you are going to utilize sight reading skills or just being able to consume a lot of music in a very short period of time, here are some of the more advanced sight reading skills that could help you. So this actually involves transposition, involves harmonization, as well as score reading. So some of the materials that I often use are, first, if you are playing art songs, any art songs would be great, but Schubert leaders especially, if you could use that, what I would do is on top of just sight reading the piano part, you can actually add in the melody part. So both the piano part as well as the vocal part. The benefit of that is you will learn to focus on different scores at the same time, and you have to decide on the spot what's the most important. So do I leave out the middle part? Do I leave out the right hand part and incorporate the voice part and the bass? Or is there something that I can leave out in the bass that doesn't affect the harmony or the bass line, but I can leave out the left hand and so it won't affect the overall structure or texture? So there's a lot of decision that you will have to make if you're consuming a lot of music in a short period of time. So that will help you to identify what's the most important to the music for the human ears. So what are some of the things that you can leave out? So using the Schubert Lieder or any other art songs, English, Italian, German, French art songs, to practice incorporating both the melody and also the accompaniment is going to help you tremendously. And you can use the same material for transposition. So for transposition, you can just transpose up to, say, a minor second, down a minor second, up a minor third, down a minor third, or up a major second and down a major second, or up a major third and down a major third. In this part, I probably wouldn't incorporate the voice part, but I would just do the piano part and see if you can transpose to those different intervals. This will force you to think more harmonically, as well as being able to identify patterns and sequence and understanding the chord progressions even more. Harmonization is a great practice, and so another material that I would introduce you is the figured harmony at the keyboard. So there are a lot of examples where you just have to figure out the harmony or the figure bass on your own. So if you want to advance your sight reading skills in a more functional bass, that's a great way to do it. And score reading is another another very useful skill to have. So here, as you can see, preparatory exercises in score reading. And so in this book, there are a lot of different exercises that you can do to improve your score reading skill and also read in different clefs as well. And so just by doing it consistently, it's going to help you to improve your skill in score reading, and eventually you'll be able to, say, accompanying choirs, and then you can play all their voices, or if you are ever in an orchestral situation, and you'll be able to read the score a lot faster. If you're a conductor, that's also a very helpful skill to have, because you'll be able to read all the scores really quickly and efficiently and successfully. So I hope today's tips on helping you to improve your sight reading skill is going to help you to have a regular and consistent practice that will really make you a successful sight reader and a musical one. Thank you for watching.